Deal flow. What is up, you guys? Sage here. That's the newest brainchild. That's my latest and greatest invention. Uh, and yeah, this is a combination. I said somewhat in the last video. I didn't want to delve on it too much because that was more so about the holiday past and wrapping that up and all that good stuff. And this is getting back to our regularly scheduled programming more so, which is just opening up the conversation with you guys. What do you think? What do you think about that as a name? Um, the concept, the basic concept, what it was born from, is an experience that I had. A friend of mine, literally last week Monday, says, "Yo, I'm on Tinder, bro. I got this, this, that." And I was like, "Tinder? When's the last time?" I heard of someone our age on Tinder, and I was like, "Let's see what that's all about. See what the hype's about." So I get on all the dating apps, right? Tinder, Hub, Hinge, Bumble, those are all the dating apps as far as I'm concerned. But I get on those because I know that that's more than likely where most people are going to gravitate towards. So I'm on there, and it's more so the experience that gave me the idea, the experience of being on there. I mean, I probably would have gotten back on the dating apps eventually as soon as I'd seen an ad or whatever the case is. But so it wasn't really the friend that had inspired the idea at all. It wasn't even Tinder itself or Hinge, but rather the experience that I had while that first day you have the excitement, you're swiping, you're messaging, you're doing the things. You're there, you're new to this thing, so it's still whatever the case. And then day two wears off slightly. By day three, I was already kind of used to it and kind of over it, right? And then something happened, which was, even though my cadence of swiping, liking, etc., had slowed down, the cadence of people liking me, swiping on my stuff, DMing me, had not slowed down. And for me, as someone who has done or has been in that world of marketing and sales and trying to put yourself out there, etc., look for clients, look for deals. For someone who's looked for deals, I understand what it means to have deal flow, and then I understand what it means when that is missing. And so that just that sheer feeling on its own of, wow, this thing is continuing to work for me without me necessarily working on it consistently, but it's giving me encouragement to get on it, and I see the benefit that would be gained from being able to see who likes you, because you could see who they are and like them back, and that increases your odds. You could, so I'm seeing all this stuff, and I'm seeing it as it's happening, and I was just thinking, I was just, because my mind is my mind, I was thinking, man, imagine if my business could have something like this, where investors, for example, investors could, I could see an investor's profile, and I see literally just like a dating profile. Like I could see the investor's profile. I click on it. I see what their bio is about, who they are, what they like to invest in, and, and if I like what their story is about, then I can like them. And it's up to them whether they like me or not. We go back and forth, and we create deals that way. But the really really cool thing for me, in my eyes, was that you could literally just have your page up there and know that there's going to be a constant engagement on some level with your business. And that's what we all ultimately want, right? Is just a little bit of deal flow. And so that's the brainchild itself. And the reason why I'm not really apprehensive about sharing the idea or whatever the case is, because I'm sure that I'm not the first person ever to think of something like this, right? And even okay, if I am, cool, people are gonna copy after I make it. If I'm not, cool, because when I do make the thing eventually, then people are going to try to make sure this laptop doesn't shut off, because then the light's gonna shut off. Is it shutting off? Yeah, it is. So anyway, I'm probably gonna pause this, turn it back on, and then whenever it does shut off. So anyway, it's the idea is going to be copied. Well, that's what you get for watching the channel of me who does not like editing it, editing at all. Because as soon as you get into the softwares, they want you to put the thumbnails. Like, dog, all I did was remove 1 second from this thing. Now I have to give you free advertising. That's crazy business. So I'm not involved in it. My point is, whether I'm the first to make it, there will be copycats eventually. So the differentiator won't be the idea itself, but the execution. And no one's going to execute it the way I'm going to execute it. They're going to execute it their own way, and the best man is going to win anyway. So you might as well just put the idea out there so that it may possibly be heard or discovered by the correct people who are going to be able to do the relevant things and have the relevant conversations with you to make it a reality. Do you understand where I'm coming from? And so, yeah, that's the brainchild. That's the latest greatest thing. And why this is so appealing to me is because in my last venture, Sage Consultation, I found a limitation, which was that I wanted to integrate technology, AI, all those good things, uh, in ways that would make things a lot more smooth and efficient for me, just in general. But I found that human knowledge and expertise would always be hand in hand with consulting, because that's kind of the backbone of consulting, is that you want a sort of human touch and an understanding. And so you need people with a certain level of understanding of business in order to kind of grow that, expand that, even with that team behind me of tech guys who are going to be actually creating the websites, designing, making whatever changes so that I can do the marketing afterwards, and that can be delegated too. Like, there is potential for growth, but that's a service-based business, you know. Not say service, but not say you can't get filthy rich doing services. I mean, I'm sure you know of a lot of people who are in the service industry that make a lot of money, but there's a different type of appeal to a pure software as a service type of feel, or appeal, and that is much more intriguing to me, because of what it brings in terms of a level of freedom, which is ultimately what we desire, right? More so than just the money itself, but having the money while also having even the ability to be anywhere in the world and provide your service, and to have it automated, and the service providing itself, and you benefiting from it, fantastic. And that could lend itself into feeding deal flow into Sage Consultation in future. Now, I'm not going to try and manage both things at the same time. We can put Sage Consultation aside. As you can see, I'm not even wearing the t-shirt today. And that's a very important lesson in why you need a personal brand, as well as doing your advertising, whatever the case, for your company. You as a person need to be able to do your own thing, do your, like, have your own ventures and go in any direction that you want, and still have some sort of an influence, instead of just being behind or the face of your company. Because without that company, if you think about switching things, there are people who go with you, there are people who don't go with you. And that's still going to happen for Sage Consultation. Some of the clients that I have there are not going to be qualified to be switched over into deal flow, because this is more of an investor focused thing. And it hits all the check marks. I'm able to now hit all the check marks, that I had in mind. Because what I realized with Sage Conversation is that it was built incorrectly, because it was built from the ground up. It was built, wanting to deal with the smallest possible businesses, or for free with friends. You do this, you do it for free with friends, you do it for pay with friends, then people that are not your friends, and then smaller businesses, and then the businesses get bigger and bigger, and then that's when I started involving the tech and this and that. Whereas if you just solve rich people's problems, they pay better. Quite simply. And Sage Conversation was at a state where it had churn by nature, but not because the business was a was incorrect or wrong, or in whatever sense, except for one. The very customer that we're dealing with is the most high churn customer that exists, which is new business owners. Hence, Shopify has what, a 60% churn, something ridiculous like that. And they're the best in the industry in terms of dealing with new business owners and making it as easy as possible, etc. And they have those levels of churn. And so dealing with small business owners, by nature, their idea may not necessarily work now. It may not necessarily work at all ever. And so you could be doing everything that you can as a consulting company, for example, trying to help this person. And because they are by nature a small business owner, they will do what small business owners do, which is sometimes go out of business. Sometimes they just stop the business. Sometimes they just like, nah, never mind. I was trying this thing. And so now you've lost a client, you've lost revenue, but you've done nothing wrong. They just decided that this is not what they want to do anymore. Just as a small example. So you realize, man, nah, this is it's not built correctly. By that I mean rich people pay better, but if you base your primary customer off of someone that is already established, that already exists and is gonna stay around, then you have a much better opportunity to stack clients on top of each other. You have a much better opportunity to start compounding. You start making your one deal count for your next deal, which counts for your next deal, which counts for your next deal, and they all stay around, and it all comes together with the castle. And so it checks that box in a major way. You can structure it in such a way where it's catering to them, what they want, what they're looking for, and it can be built in a way where it does service the business owner as well. Because, however, you're not dependent on the business owner, because like I said, businesses, they come, they go. But investors, especially high level investors, they're around and they're playing the game and they're here to stay. And if I was an investor, one thing I would definitely appreciate is that phone going off in terms of potential investments in potential places to put my money, you know? And that right there, just within itself, that idea of, oh, because you need to realize that the experience, they're not selling you dates. Tinder isn't selling you dates. Tinder is selling you the idea that if you stay on this application, you will get a date eventually. They did not promise you dates. They're not obligated contractually in any way, shape, or form for you to actually succeed in doing what you're doing, because that's not what they offer. And hence, it's not called Deal Place, Deal Hub. It's called Deal Flow, because that's what we offer. Deal Flow. Anyway, I don't want to keep you guys for too long. That's the latest, greatest brainchild. I'm going to be working on it. I'm going to be networking. I'm talking to developers all the time. I want to get more so on the investor side of things, so I can learn my customer, and not to say that I am completely in the dark when it comes to this, because I'm already a very, very big fan of a lot of people who are very big in business, right? So I've already read all the books by these people, so it's again one of those things where you find that, man, it's all led up to this. Even say, for example, when I started the last company, I said it was all led up to this, and and it was leading up to there, so it can lead me up to here, so that it can lead me to the next place. God knows where that is. Is that deal flow, doing a couple hundred mil? God's plan. We'll see. Is that into our next business venture with the lessons that we'll learn from deal flow? God's plan. What I can tell you is that I have been Sage, and I thank you for watching, and I am standing on business and signing out.